Welcome to the Past in Pictures channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Joseph Merrick was born in 1862 in Leicester, England, and became known as the Elephant Man. He had severe physical deformities caused by a rare condition now associated with Proteus syndrome. For part of his life, he was exhibited in fairs and circuses, which made him known but also exposed him to much prejudice. Over time, he received medical and social support at the London hospital, where he lived his final years. His story inspired the film The Elephant Man, released in 1980, and is remembered as an example of humanity and perseverance. Miran Dajo, whose real name was Arnold Gerrit Henskes, was born on August 6, 1912 in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. He became known worldwide for extreme acts, such as piercing his body with swords, needles, and other sharp objects without showing pain or visible injury. His performances were observed by doctors and scientists who confirmed the authenticity of the feats through X-ray examinations. Dajo believed his abilities had a spiritual origin and sought to prove the power of the mind over the body. In 1948, after swallowing a steel needle as part of a demonstration, he suffered internal complications that led to his death. His story continues to intrigue scholars and admirers and is remembered as one of the most mysterious of the 20th century. Maurice Tillet was born on October 23, 1903, in Russia. At 17, he began to show physical changes caused by acromegaly, a condition triggered by excess growth hormone. His face, hands, and feet enlarged in unusual ways, giving him a distinct appearance. During the 1930s, he moved to France and later to the United States, where he began a career as a professional wrestler. Under the name the French Angel, Tillet won fame in American Wrestling Association rings and became the heavyweight champion in the 1940s. Beyond sports, he was very learned, spoke about 10 languages, and wrote poetry. His appearance inspired the creators of the character Shrek, released in 2001 by DreamWorks. Before his death in 1954, Tillet allowed molds of his head to be made, resulting in 3 masks displayed in American museums and one owned by the businessman Patrick Kelly. Prince Randian was born in 1871 in British Guiana and became known as the Snake Man or the human torso. Born without arms and legs due to a rare congenital condition, he became one of the most admired attractions of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey circuses. Randian impressed audiences with the ability to carry out complex tasks, such as writing, painting, and lighting cigarettes using only his mouth. In 1932, he appeared in Tod Browning's film Freaks, which preserved his image as one of the most notable artists in Sideshow history. Johnny Eck was born on August 27, 1911 in Baltimore, United States, with sacralogenesis, a condition that left him without the lower part of his body. From a young age, he developed great skill and mobility, becoming a leading sideshow attraction from the 1930s through the 1950s. Known for walking on his hands, doing acrobatics, and even playing basketball, Johnny amazed audiences with his strength and talent. He also worked in film, appearing in Freaks 1932, and devoted himself to the arts as a painter, sculptor, and puppeteer. In addition, he was interested in music and even conducted small orchestras. His story is remembered as an example of determination and creativity, showing that physical limits do not prevent great achievements. Schlitzy was born in 1901 in the United States and became known as Star of Freaks. He had microcephaly, a condition that causes a smaller head size and some cognitive limits. With a cheerful and spontaneous manner, he won audiences in circuses and curiosity fairs, performing songs, dances, and playful bits. In 1932, he gained special notice by appearing in Tod Browning's film Freaks, playing himself. His endearing personality made him one of the most beloved and remembered figures in the sideshow world. Joe Martin Lorello was born in 1886 in Germany and became known worldwide as the Owl Man for his striking ability to turn his head up to 180 degrees. This ability, the result of great flexibility in the neck, led him to success in entertainment. In 1921, he moved to the United States and began performing with the Barnum and Bailey Circus, where he quickly became one of the most popular attractions. In 1940, his talent was documented in a feature in Life magazine, which made him even better known. Laurello continued performing for decades and died in 1955, leaving his name as one of the most curious and remembered figures in the history of sideshows. Harry Earls, born Kurt Schneider in 1902 in Germany, had dwarfism and from an early age sought opportunities in entertainment. In 1915, he moved to the United States with his sister Grace, where they began performing in circuses and shows, adopting the stage name Earls. Over time, his sisters Daisy and Tiny also joined them, forming the group The Doll Family, which became one of the best-known troupes of the period. Charismatic and talented, Harry stood out in film, acting in notable productions such as Freaks in 1932 and The Wizard of Oz in 1939. His career established his name as one of the most important performers in the history of sideshows and classic cinema. Frances O'Connor was born without arms but developed an extraordinary ability. She carried out everyday tasks using only her feet. She taught herself to eat, drink, write, sew, and even handle objects with precision. At 15, she joined the Ringling Brothers Circus, where she performed with her mother, who served as her manager. Her act consisted of ordinary actions, such as eating a steak or writing a letter, surprising the audience with the natural way she moved. Frances became one of the most admired circus performers, showing that determination can turn limits into talent and art. Pip and Flip were twin sisters born with microcephaly, a condition that affects the development of the skull and the brain, resulting in a childlike appearance and a reduced head shape. Known as the Yucatan twins, they were believed to be from the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, although they lived and performed in the United States. They were part of famous circuses and sideshows in the early decades of the 20th century, where they became beloved figures to the public for their friendliness and spontaneity. Pip and Flip gained notoriety by appearing in the classic 1932 film Freaks by Todd Browning, and their image later inspired the creation of the character Pepper in the series American Horror Story Freak Show. Their path shows both the fascination and the challenges faced by performers with rare conditions during the era of curiosity shows. Cuckoo, known as the Bird Girl, was born in 1880 in the state of Georgia, United States, and had Virchow-Seckel syndrome, also called bird-headed dwarfism. This rare condition gave her very short stature, a small head, a thin nose, and a recessed jaw, traits that drew attention in her time. Cuckoo began her career in curiosity circuses, where she stood out by turning her particular traits into art. She wore feathered costumes, plumed tiaras, and performed eccentric dances that imitated the movements of a bird. Her presence captivated audiences, and she became one of the best-known sideshow performers of the early 20th century, remembered for her talent and for finding a unique way to shine on stage. Grace McDaniels was born in 1888 in the United States and became known as the Mule-Faced Woman. She had Sturge-Weber syndrome, a rare condition that causes blood vessel malformations and extensive birthmarks on the skin. In the 1930s, she joined Harry Lewiston's circus, where she became one of the best-known attractions. Despite the difficulties caused by her condition, Grace built a successful career and traveled with her son, Elmer, supporting the family with her work and being remembered for strength and determination. Chung and Eng Bunker were born in 1811 in the former Siam, present-day Thailand, and became known as the Siamese twins. Joined at the sternum, they became famous attractions in 19th-century circuses and sideshows. They moved to the United States, married 2 sisters, and had many children. Even with physical limits, they lived independent lives and left a legacy that gave rise to the term Siamese twins. Fanny Mills was born on August 30, 1860, in Sussex, England, and moved as a child to Sandusky, Ohio, United States. She had a rare condition called Milroy disease, which caused severe swelling in her legs and feet, leading her to wear size 29 shoes. From 1885 to 1892, she performed in circuses and curiosity museums where she became known as the woman with the largest feet in the world. A false advertisement offering $5,000 and a farm to anyone who married her helped increase her fame. In 1886, she married William L. Brown, and after leaving the stage, lived quietly on the family farm until her death in 1899. Daisy and Violet Hilton were born in 1908 in Brighton, England, joined at the hip and sharing part of their circulatory system. Adopted by Mary Hilton, they entered the sideshow circuit as children and became known for singing and dancing performances. Over time, they gained international fame and later lived a quieter life. The sisters died in 1969 during the Hong Kong flu pandemic and are remembered as two of the most recognized conjoined twins in entertainment history. Mary Ann Bevan was born in 1874 in the United Kingdom and worked as a nurse before developing acromegaly, a condition that causes excessive growth of bones and tissues. After the death of her husband, Thomas Bevan, she faced financial difficulties and began performing in fairs and circuses to support her children. She became known as the ugliest woman in the world, a label used by the media of the time. Despite the stigma, Mary Ann is remembered for courage and determination in providing for her family during a time of significant social challenges. Grady Stiles Jr., known as Lobster Boy, was born in 1937 in the United States with a rare condition called ectrodactyly, which made his hands and feet resemble lobster claws. Following family tradition, he became a famous sideshow attraction. Despite fame, he faced personal problems and family conflicts that marked his life and career in entertainment. Ella Harper was born in 1870 in the state of Tennessee, United States, and became known as the Camel Girl. She had a rare condition called genu recurvatum, which bent her knees backward and allowed her to walk on all fours. Her unusual ability drew attention and led her to perform in circuses and fairs in the 1880s, where she was billed as the most wonderful curiosity of nature. Alice Elizabeth Doherty was born on March 14, 1887 in Minneapolis, United States, and became known as the Wolf Girl. She had a rare condition called lanuginous hypertrichosis, which covered her body with a layer of fine light hair from birth. From an early age, her parents presented her at fairs and circuses, drawing great public curiosity. Alice became a known figure in the sideshow world, remembered for her singular appearance and her gentle way of handling fame. George and Willie Muse were born at the end of the 19th century in the community of Truvine, near Roanoke, Virginia, and had oculocutaneous albinism. Around 1899, they were taken by a circus agent and exhibited under publicity names such as Echo and Iko, and ambassadors from Mars. In October 1927, when Ringling Brothers returned to Roanoke, their mother, Harriet Muse, found them and brought a case that won their freedom, back pay, and fairer contracts. After that, the brothers performed for years under better conditions and eventually retired from the circuit. Today, their story is remembered as a symbol of family resistance and a call-out of exploitation and racism in the sideshows of the period. Annie Jones was born in 1865 in the United States and became known as the Bearded Woman. From childhood, she had a thick beard that drew the attention of circus managers. At 9 months of age, she was already part of the Barnum and Bailey attractions, where she became one of the most famous performers of her time. Even while facing prejudice, Annie turned her appearance into a source of pride and success, traveling the world and winning audiences with her talent and charm. Josephine Myrtle Corbin was born in 1868 in Texas, United States, and became known as the four-legged woman. She had a rare condition called dipygus, which duplicated the lower part of the body and resulted in 4 legs. It is believed this happened due to the fusion of 2 embryos during pregnancy. Even with only 1 fully functional leg, Josephine performed in circuses and fairs, becoming one of the best-known figures of the late 19th century. Pauline Musters was born on February 26, 1876 in Ossendrecht, the Netherlands. Recognized by Guinness as the shortest adult woman ever recorded, she measured only about 24 inches tall and weighed about 10 pounds. Known as Princess Pauline, she charmed audiences with dance and acrobatic acts in theaters and fairs across Europe and the United States. She died on March 1, 1895 in New York at 19 years of age from pneumonia and meningitis. Her story remains one of the most notable in 19th century entertainment. Known as the spectacular two-headed man, he was born with a rare condition called parasitic twins, caused by the fusion of two embryos during pregnancy. The partially formed second head drew considerable medical interest and made him a popular attraction in early 20th century circuses and fairs. His image was widely used on posters, symbolizing the era's fascination with cases considered extraordinary. Frau Farini was born in 1876 in Laos and became known as the Monkey Woman. She had a rare condition called hypertrichosis, which causes excessive hair growth over the body and different facial traits. Discovered as a child by an explorer, she was taken to Europe and exhibited as the missing link between humans and apes in shows with scientific and circus tones. She later traveled to the United States and became one of the major attractions in P.T. Barnum's shows, remembered as a striking figure in Sideshow history. Fedor Jevtichuk was born in 1868 in Russia and became known as Joe, the dog-faced boy. He had hypertrichosis, a condition that causes excessive hair growth on the face and body. As a young man, he began performing with P.T. Barnum's Circus, becoming one of the great attractions of the era. Years later, his appearance inspired the character Chewbacca in the Star Wars franchise. Aloysia Wagner, known as Violetta, was born in Germany at the start of the 20th century without arms and without legs. She found in sideshows a way to demonstrate independence, traveling to New York with her half-brother to perform. Using only her torso and her mouth, she carried out daily tasks and sang before audiences. Described on posters as a beautiful Venus without arms and without legs, Violetta became one of the most admired artists in the international curiosity circuit. In 1917, Pascual Piñon, known as the Two-Headed Mexican, traveled across the United States with an act that drew great curiosity. He had an unusual formation on his head that suggested a second face, which was emphasized with a wax mold created by the circus. His act became popular in the sideshows of the era and made Pascual one of the most remembered figures in early 20th century circus entertainment. Horace Riddler, known as the Zebra Man, was born in England and became famous for turning his body into a true work of art. Leaving behind an aristocratic life, he underwent lengthy tattoo sessions that covered his skin with black and white stripes and adopted the stage name The Great Omi. On stage, he impressed audiences with his singular appearance alone, with no need for tricks or illusions. His extreme transformation became a symbol of courage and dedication to body art in the 20th century sideshow world. Felix Weyler was a performer known for appearing in circuses and sideshows in the early 20th century. He had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, also called cutis elastica, a rare genetic condition that affects collagen and makes the skin extremely elastic and fragile. During his acts, Felix impressed audiences by stretching his skin in unusual ways, showing the syndrome's traits and attracting scientific interest that continues to this day. Susie was a circus performer with ichthyosis, a condition that causes dry, scaling skin. Her unusual appearance earned her the nickname Elephant Skin because of the rough, cracked texture. During her acts, she inspired curiosity and admiration, becoming a striking figure in sideshows and a symbol of strength in the face of her condition's challenges. The sisters Natalia and Aurora Jaramillo were born in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and became known for having heads that were small in proportion to the body, a condition that drew curiosity. They began performing in 1908, appearing in fairs and circuses with singing numbers and synchronized dances. The mix of talent and uncommon appearance made them remembered figures of early 20th century freak shows. Millie and Christine McCoy were born in 1851 in North Carolina, United States, joined at the base of the spine. Known as the Carolina Twins, they faced not only their physical condition, but also the fact that they were born enslaved. Over time, they learned to sing and perform, becoming talented and highly admired artists in circuses and shows. Even in the face of hardship, they achieved independence and respect, and are remembered for determination and for their contribution to the history of entertainment and personal perseverance. Edouard Beaupré was born on January 9, 1881 in Canada, and became known as the Giant of Willow Bunch. At about 8 feet 3 inches tall, he stood out for strength and skill as a wrestler. He performed with the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, where he impressed audiences with feats of strength. Despite the difficulties caused by his condition, he became one of the most remembered figures in early 20th century entertainment. Bunzi, known as the albino, was born with albinism, a genetic condition that causes a lack of pigment in the skin, hair, and eyes. At a time of little understanding, his appearance drew curiosity. Discovered when young, he performed in several circuses, including the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, becoming one of the most popular sideshow attractions of the early 20th century. Charmian, born at the end of the 19th century, was a trapeze artist and strongwoman who challenged the standards of her era. In a time when restraint was expected of women, she stood out through a mix of athletic skill and boldness. Her most famous number consisted of performing trapeze acrobatics while removing parts of her costume mid-flight, keeping full control and elegance in her movements. Considered provocative for the period, the act made Charmian one of the most discussed and admired artists of the great circuses of her time. Jeannie Toomey was born in 1916 and became known as the Legless Woman, one of the most notable artists in curiosity circuses. From birth, she lived without lower limbs, but turned her condition into art, developing great arm strength and acrobatic skills that delighted audiences. Her story drew even more attention when she married Al Toomey, a performer who stood over 7 feet 10 inches tall, forming one of the most striking couples in the circus world. Together, they ran their own show and promoted respect among performers, becoming symbols of perseverance and unity. Teo Valenzuela, known as the fattest man in the world, became famous in Tempe, United States in the early 20th century. In 1922, he weighed about 645 pounds and performed in fairs and shows. Despite mobility challenges, he found in these performances a way to earn a living and gain public recognition. Maximo and Bartola, known as the Aztec children, were born in Tehuantepec, El Salvador, with microcephaly. Sold as children to an American promoter, they were exhibited as descendants of an ancient Aztec race in a fabrication that captivated the public. Dressed in exotic costumes and sun symbols, they became popular attractions in the United States and Europe, were received at the White House, and were studied by scientists. Even after the truth became known, they remained among the most famous artists of the 19th century. Eli Bowen was born in 1844 in the United States with phocomelia, a condition that caused incomplete leg development. Known as the legless acrobat, he stood out in circuses and sideshows by performing acrobatics using only his arms, impressing audiences with strength and agility. This photo from 1924 shows members of the Congress of Oddities, a famous Ringling Brothers circus attraction, gathered for a group portrait. The show brought together performers with unusual physical traits who appeared in popular exhibitions known as sideshows. At the time, these shows drew great public curiosity and offered performers a means of livelihood and recognition. Oddity Fat and Skinny Man were a popular duo in early 20th century circuses. With the contrast between a very thin man and an obese man, they staged comic boxing matches that mixed humor and theater, becoming entertainment icons of the era. Madame Gustica, presented as a member of the Duckbill tribe, was one of the best-known attractions in curiosity shows in the early 20th century. Her fame came from the use of large lip plates that stretched her mouth, displayed as an exotic custom. During her acts, she lit a pipe and smoked it through the plates, a gesture that fascinated audiences and symbolized the era's interest in distant cultures. In 1947, the young photographer Stanley Kubrick captured the image of a sideshow performer in the United States. The man, of unknown identity, wore rings attached to his chest during his acts and wore a worn coat and hat. The photo portrays the end of the era of traveling circuses and the hard routine of the performers who lived from those shows.